Welcome all. I couldn't find time, so rather than typing a long post, I would take a long time. So I thought I'll just quickly record it. So maybe moving forward, so that way I could answer a lot of queries, whatever I know, because people ask. So today, one of the interesting topic I noticed in all the groups is somebody wanted to know about tattoos. So so I thought I'll share my views. If you look at the history of tattoos, in fact, history of human being, like we all have come from the caves, and then we started descending down, and we started into farming, and then before that hunting and farming, and then slowly we evolved. So this particular practice was started in the tribal ritual or medicinal practice. So when a baby is born, to avoid jaundice, they did certain ear piercing, improve the eyesight. They did ear piercing. It's through practice they found out, or through the psychic power they were able to identify doing certain things. So that was the actual birth of tattoo, is what I could realize and see through from my angle. And then it later became a point of a therapeutic reason. So for various disease they used to do, like any unknown disease, incurable disease, they perform certain tattoos in a certain ritual, in a certain way that invokes the power. We'll talk about how those powers are coming, and we'll go in detail in this video. So they were used for treatment, and it became such that even now in India, in a certain religion, in a very subset of certain religion, even now they do tattoos in a very different way. Now they converted the tattoo harming the body into a body painting. So so in a very specific set where they put a symbol of Vishnu here, both the symbols, the shell and the chakra. So, and they also do it here in their forehead and a lot of other things. It is more like initiation for them. How do they get power? Without doing initiation, will they not get power? There is a certain meaning which I will decode later. So that is done for awakening certain senses in our body. Either you attract that energy through your body through that symbol, or through your conscious you invoke that power. So that is the practice. But over a period of time, it became more like various tribes took it in a very different way, because this is not a standard set of rules, right? So they started using that practice. So for example, in Northeast, what they do is it's more like a courage or a status symbol. Or if you belong to a certain royal family, then they had certain tattoos in their body to identify themselves that they belong to a certain class of people. And some people, in some part of South India, they had some patterns in their body. It's more like it's like showing the femininity of it. Or when people in a particular tribe or in a particular set of people, where most of them look identical, they had tattoos to differentiate them. In modern times, it is more used like a punishment. I'm talking about like 100 years back in the World War times or in the prison times. Prisoners were given tattoos to identify or severity of their punishment. So they used to do it. So there are like a lot of meaning towards it, and it has a deeper impact in our conscious, because you're permanently making a mark, and we are permanently short circuiting the blood circulation, and the nadis, which 72,000 nadis we have here, and murmur points, we are permanently changing the way it works. So it does have a lot of significance at the psychic level. So how do these tattoos get that power that we think about it? A very simple example I could think of is, say, for example, you have a torchlight, you have a bulb. To make the bulb glow, you need a battery. That is a source of energy. Same thing like our body, to make it function, we need the soul that is sitting inside our head, the secretion of DMT. All these things contribute to make us alive. The moment soul leaves, the body is dead. That's it. There is no other option here. So now, when you put a symbol, how do that get energy? We'll talk about the energy part first. So the energy source, like the bulb and the battery, in our body, our blood circulation, the continuous movement of the blood flow creates that energy. So for example, you apply a perfume in your pulse point, right? You don't spray like how they show in TV. You actually, if you know how to use a perfume, you apply exactly in the pulse point, wherever the pulsation happens, the here or here or the here. So if you touch where the pulse, it's like almost like continuous beat. You just keep your hand and just close your eyes, you'll feel like continuous vibration. So when a particular perfume is applied or anything applied in those particular region, that small subtle movement a body creates that sends the fragments. So that continuously emits it. So that's some movement. So something like that when the continuous blood flows happen, because blood has a lot of spiritual power. So that energy when it goes and does a circulation in a different format as per the tattoo design, the circuit, short circuit you created in your hand, that particular intentions and the property of that symbol or the intentions what you set, the person who did it, that is continuously emitted. It's a permanent thing until you can't go back and make it. There are certain ways to remove tattoos, but the short circuit has already happened, so that energy cannot be removed, or it might do the adverse effect. So so that is the reason the symbols get that energy if you do it in the body. And how do those symbols make sense to us? See, what happens is our brain cells, it's all collection of neurons, right? It all creates a pattern, the way they circulate, the way the blood flows from one neuron to other neuron, the nodes they create, it forms a pattern in our head, and that's how we store information, we make decisions in our life. A lot of other impressions, the what we call the us in this lifetime is connection of those patterns. That's it. If you can take this whole pattern and recreate in a default brain, then that person becomes me. So you can keep on repeating. That's how even the cloning, the fundamentals of cloning also is based on that. So these patterns, what happens is, through our eyes, when we look a similar pattern or when you look at similar objects per se, immediately it creates a trigger that the electrical signal goes to the brain and it recognizes certain pattern which is stored in your conscious and invokes it. So they have done research on certain symbols in the Western countries, and they found out that even a baby who doesn't have any knowledge of symbols, certain symbols invoke happiness, certain symbols invoke sadness. So when we see that symbol itself, it is like creates a very big change in our conscious and alertness level of our mind. So any symbol you create, there are like they've already mastered it. We don't have to create new symbol. A lot of symbols have been created and researched by our ancestors, and these symbols have very significant power. That's a very complex subject. Symbols alone itself, maybe a lifetime is needed to explain. So these symbols invoke certain power inside us consciously. So when you are unconscious, these symbols continuously work, and those symbols also attract that specific kind of energy from the cosmic. So that's how that symbol has that power, and the power and the energy that symbol needs to manifest is coming from our blood, because we have made the short circuit in our hand or in any part of the body where you put the tattoo. So then this practice of tattoo become a lot more, people become a lot more so-called civilized. So they started not using pain as a remedy, and they started using herbal dyes. For example, mehendi was one of the things. So they used to have it in the hand. So why do they have it in the hand? Because these are osmotic pressure points. This particular area and this particular osmotic pressure points on the foot attracts certain energies from the surrounding. So this attracts the wealth, and this attracts the knowledge, and this attracts the certain properties. So like that, that's why they created those patterns in the hand, so that when you wake up in the morning, you rub your hand and you look at it, your eyesight that's been meditating for last night, that has the power. The prana shakti is not being leaked, it's been stored. The very first time when you see, that whole energy gets sucked into through your eyes to your brain. It's like reminding you or sucking the energy, And that's a story. If you see Mahabharata, when Duryodhana wanted to shield his body, his mother never has opened his eyes, so he went to show the body to the mother, and you all remember the story. So that eyesight has that much of power, and the short circuit you create in the form of tattoo, and the blood circulation and the symbol you choose, all these factors combined creates a different energy level around you permanently. So you have to be very careful when you choose symbols of what you do. I am neither going to say it is good or bad. Until 1000 years or maybe few hundred years back, tattoo was quite common in India. So many people had tattoos. And the new religion, the institution of religions, when they started coming in, converting people, that's when they started, you shouldn't be modifying the God's part, or they were against it. But so then they went to a softer version of mehendi kind of design or temporary tattoos. But on a higher level, it has a spiritual and conscious psychological impact on us, and it also has a medical health-wise. It does affect, because when you are psychologically affected or spiritually affected, it does reflect in our body. So it does affect us. It does enhance us. It does affect us. In enhances means ear piercing improves your eyesight, prevents you from jaundice. It is the first activation of your immune system, waking up of your immunity cells in your body, and the negative effects are people become dull and they change. It's kind of a character modification what you do. So they have also done certain researches when people done tattoos, when people have higher psychic power. So they were able to make some artwork of those people, and people who read auras. So they were able to tell that there is an energy leakage in this body permanently. That is because of the wrong symbol they have activated in a wrong place. So today you can do it or not do it. It's your individual choice. But if you are doing it, make sure what kind of symbol you choose, what intentions you have. The person who does the thing, what intention he has. I think you should tell your intention to him, and he should take it in his conscious and try be a channel and perform that art on your body. So make sure that channel is properly done, and then you choose an appropriate place, and you can definitely do it. So that is one thing. And couple of interesting facts I could tell you is from the tribal thing is, earlier there was no abortion or some kind of thing. So they were body piercing, and tattoo was one of the tools they implemented to fix those kind of health issues. And a few 100 years back, when the arranged marriage was a standard practice in India, so that time the mehendi ceremony is very big. One of the reasons they do is to create that intimate connection between the couples, because they both would have not even spoken or met earlier, and first time they are together, and they need some kind of pointers to start. So that mehendi design was something they embed some stories, family history, or their names into it, and they start getting into conversation. So that is also one of these. I think now many marriages, when they do mehendi functions, they put the bridegroom name somewhere hidden or some story about them. So they start conversating, and they start. So that is the idea they started. But the interesting, people found their own way of using tattoos as one of a permanent or temporary tattoos for certain purpose. But at a higher level, this is the meaning. So choose your symbol properly. For every person, whenever we are born, we born at a particular sound and light, right? That's how the universe is created, sound and light. That's what even the Shiva has, that symbol, right? That the Damaru, which makes a sound, and the light. So when a soul enters the body, that particular sound and light is created, and particular star opening. So there's a lot of signs. So that particular angle, that particular time the soul enters the body, that star is what you see in your birth chart. That creates a sound, and that sound is what locks the soul into the body and makes you remember the purpose of life. That's why the name that sound is very important. And that particular symbol, stars, what you have, also signifies certain symbols. So these are your winning symbols. So whenever you see that symbol, unconsciously, your brain is, or through your eyes, your brain is automatically programmed. So it keeps on activating it. So these are called winning symbols. For example, for me, it's an umbrella. So any of my posts I add in umbrella, or I have my mobile phone screensaver as an umbrella. So I keep certain wherever I see that umbrella, but I know that this is the meaning, so I see that, and I've done this experiment on myself, on many people who have coached. So they have given the difference, and it was some of the topics what I told has already been discussed, elaborated in 48 days program, but I just want to share it with everyone. So choose your nakshatra symbol could be one of the option I could suggest you, or you can choose any of the spiritual symbols, but be careful when you are using symbols. It has to be sattvic. There are certain symbols which would invoke any bad energies, and when you put any of those symbols, make sure you have that intention and make sure you follow that rituals if at all it's needed. So make sure you understand it and do it. Just for the sake of drawing an artwork into the body, it might sound simple, but it does have a lot of psychological effect on our body, mind and soul. So that's what I would like to share. So these are like little things. So if you have any further doubts, feel free to ask in the group. If I know answer, I'll definitely share my views. If I don't know, maybe I'll find out, or I'll just say I don't know. So thank you all. I'll probably meet you with any other interesting topic if there is discussion group, and I'll also share it. Thank you.